He may be one of the greatest players who's honestly ever touched the game of Overwatch. The Shock, though, they're the one that wants to walk away with a trophy as well, of course, and Arndt will go up for an early grapple, sees nothing. Toby's down early. That's not what the Dynasty are looking for at all. It's traded out at the very least, and great save by Gesture. Seoul Dynasty able to recover.
And what these Shock try and do is they try and throw the Immortality Field to the left and push in behind it. You try and save everybody from a lot of that damage coming down, but Creative hits another big Biotic Grenade. I don't know if you can live through another fight like that, though. If you lose your Mercy early on, you're gonna be in trouble.
3 minutes and 11, so that cost him about 50 seconds of Shock. And Prophet, there's big stuff he's positioning now. Super gets hit with an accretion. Striker somehow coach gunning himself upwards and trying to find the 180. It's Gesture that's gone down, though. Super's been effective at shutting the enemy Roadhog down, but he was clinging onto life himself. But with Creative gone, man, how did the Dynasty fight back here?
They've done the hard part. They get through the choke. It's going to be almost impossible for the Dynasty to fight back as Marvel uses the Gravitic Flux. He will get taken out, and a few more players here left alive as Toby will get hooked in by Super. But if you're, like I mentioned, if you're not able to hold that choke with the Pharah, you're not going to get a win with it. San Francisco, they push right in. They're able to get control of the choke. They push the Pharah out. They're able to get the payload.
And what do you make of this? Prophet hasn't switched off the Pharah yet.
I feel like you're going to have to, especially this part of the map. You know, there's not really like a huge choke that you can hold down. Yep, he'll go over to the Hanzo. So the Hanzo to control that high ground.
And this part of the map seems so hard to break for attackers here. Marvel goes low, but is able to save himself with the kinetic grasp. But like, how do you get the Dynasty off the high ground if you're San Francisco? Like, maybe a lucky hook, maybe you force them down, but Fitz finds a pick on Striker. There's just no shielding for San Francisco.
You know, me and Josh and Bren were watching the game the other day, and I feel like this is one of the hardest positions to get past, is when this team can control that high ground. You almost have to have somebody like almost like the Shock are doing right now, move the cart. Self-destruct from Choi over the top, maybe just trying to buy some space. He connects to Toby.
That is magnificent. Really, just to try and open up some space. He gets the enemy Mercy, but it's Jetstra and Prophet, the dynamic duo, stepping up. No way. Prophet finds Striker there in the backside, and now Super is a little tentative about whether he wants to come forward. Prophet still rules the skies.
He's going to be able to. Is a beautiful hook there from Super. And all he needs to do is just get this cart around the corner, right? Deny some of that high ground up by the bridge. Excellent from San Francisco, able to break it. They have to use just about everything to be able to do it, though.
We saw the Dynasty, though. This part of the map towards the end, they really showed up and slowed the Shock down once more. Gesture's going to hold the corner here, and you can see the shield delivered. Choihyobin stunned up there. A Striker playing from the high ground, but sees nothing, and that's a crucial kill. When it counts, Gesture finds it. Marvel will follow up here with the Gravitic Flux, and this should just drag out the fight nicely for the Dynasty. Give themselves plenty of time to work with, ideally.
You're okay with this if you're the Shock. You know, you have a decent amount of time, and look at this, they're just throwing in ults. You do Gravitic Flux, Dragon, you're okay with that. I mean, you came in with relatively nothing for San Francisco. You know, you get in, you do a little bit of damage, you get them to expel some ults. Now you come back to fight again. The bad part is, we'll see what Seoul Dynasty decides to do. Yeah, no, this will be the bad part. As they want to take this high ground yet again. They know how strong this roof is.
This is huge for the Dynasty. Fantastic presence of mind to know that this is where they need to be. On top of the saloons, they reclaim this hard-fought territory, and the Shock had to go and do it again. Incredible Widow play from both sides. Violet and Prophet both fall, but it's definitely the Dynasty who get the better end of that trade. Let's see what the reses look like. Super somehow able to find a hook on Toby. Gesture's mad. Big Brother comes to the rescue.
Yeah, as what the Shock decide to do is, instead of trying to fight that high ground, just get up towards it. Ooh, Fitz with another headshot. They try and send players down towards the point that just put pressure on the cart and draw them back. It's not good enough, though. Fitz, 2 headshots back-to-back, knows exactly where Violet's playing from. That would be bad for the Shock. I mean, remember when the Seoul Dynasty are making their comeback in their earlier series in the tournament? It was really when Ons went a little bit quiet, a little bit cold, and Fitz was able to really heat up. Bad sign for the San Francisco Shock if we start seeing that again.
Yep, this is not nearly as smooth as it was earlier for San Francisco. Every time they find a kill, Gesture is there to respond. Whole Hoggy couldn't get away from him, but Fitz is able to get rid of Moth, and that Gravitic Flux, despite not connecting on anyone, Still, a good position for Soul to be until Super strikes once more. That's a big hook onto Marvel, and that'll buy the Shock a little bit more space, but it won't guarantee a capture. Violet is cracked. He's out of his mind. He finds Fitz. Maybe some more pressure towards Toby here. He's got the blaster around at 1 HP. Violet, the Daredevil, the evil Knievel of Overwatch, gets away with such audacity. Should not be allowed.
How many Zens do you see go up to that position?
None, because none of them
relatively alone.
None of them are remotely as psycho as Violet is.
No Sigma or any type of protection up there. Takes out the Widow, who's got a Mercy pocket, and then takes out the Mercy as well. Just a wild play from Violet.
But look, talking to our resident Widow expert, the Brito Maker, rest in peace, he mentioned that it is hard to hit the Zen with that sort of left-right straight move. Even when you're boosted by a Mercy, it doesn't mean the shots are easy to hit. I mean, that's incredible. Presence of mind, but what a sleep. Striker, though, will be sat on. That's not going to be enough. Choi tried to protect him, but the Dragon Strike will chomp him up.
Overall, though, this is a pretty good defense for the Seoul Dynasty. You can get a hold here. You have Infrasight, you have Whole Hog, and the Nano Boost. You get a hold here. All you have to do for Seoul is just do not let them finish the map. Gives yourself a really good shot here going into their offense.
That's all it took with Hanamura, and they really followed up after that. They finished Gibraltar, didn't have to play the rest of the map. Seoul looked so good there. And they've got everything they need right now. It's up to San Francisco. The onus is on them to challenge and answer. I mean, a ridiculous headshot on Fitz. I don't even know how he finds those. A Resurrect might be required. It's going to be a Gravitic Flux, but Super can't be protected because he's hit with another Biotic Grenade from Creative, causing so many problems for the backline of the Shock. Is this Ana? And now the Shock will be chased on out. 1 minute and 7 remains.
Yeah, when you kind of look across what San Francisco has, they end up using their Transcendence there. Gravitic Flux and Whole Hog. They felt like that was their chance to get it over the line. Violet will now go over to Ana, I believe, for the first time in the series. See his use of the Biotic Grenades. Fitz hold on to the Infrasight. So you'll have Infrasight here. Big advantage with the Gravitic Flux. Possibly a Dragon to combo with it. Seoul Dynasty in a perfect position to get a defensive hold before that third point.
Infrasight will be big for Fitz. Required now as the Sonic Arrow does all that work on a shorter cooldown. Gravitic Flux for Super. He is in trouble. He's yoinked out of it as Marvel will not be denied. It's going to be the Valkyrie from Mock here.
He thought about it. Risky, though.
Not going to happen. No Resurrect opportunity there. Super will have to walk back the old-fashioned way. Still 13 seconds remain and a chance for the Shock to move. They just stay cagey around the car right now and try not to give over any more casualties. But this is where the fight really begins. That's a sleep down on Gesture. Is there capitalization? No, not possible. Gesture's going to pick himself back up, and Violet gets caught by the Dragon Strike. Prophet comes up with the goods. Violet has to be resurrected here. Toby was boosting Prophet, but now he'll be looking for a flank kill on this Hanzo from the high ground. The Shock have to go. They have to keep on the cart now. Super dodges the accretion. One comes out, and Striker with 2. They find Toby Prophet on the high ground, and now he gets to flank. Gesture with a whole hold keeps most of the Shock off the cart, but now they return. It's all orange all the time on the cart. Marvel has to step forward. Another incredible Biotic Grenade from Creative, but it may not be enough. Nano Boost fits. If the shoe fits, he'll wear it, and apparently the Shock make great moccasins right now. Marvel hangs on to the cart. It's just Super. Can he keep it alive? Striker comes up to join him, but Fitz has the off angle, and take a breather. It's not enough. Fitz, you absolute monster. The Dynasty hold on, and they deny the Shock the map completion.
Oh my. That is a huge fight in just terms of overall momentum. The Shock, they think they have it. They think they have the map complete. Fitz with 2 headshots back to back. Marvel on the point, Mitch. He gets hit with the Nano Boost. He builds up a Gravitic Flux. So careful. He has to kind of like tread to the middle ground between raising up with the Gravitic Flux, but also contesting the point. And the remainder of Seoul Dynasty floods out of the spawn. Because right now, if you're Seoul Dynasty, you look at this, hey, if we complete the map, if we finish Hollywood, we get a final game.
Look at this from Fitz. Absolutely absurd. He styled on Arn's entire map. Look how low he is. He's still looking for the flank. No concern for his own safety.
Oh, these shots are just so crisp.
Well, he's just killed 2 of the hardest heroes to hit in this game. Like, those hitboxes are impossible to hit. I mean, Fitz is 11 kills, 4 deaths. Arnt's is 4 and 3. That is the Widow difference you're witnessing right now. And that's what kept Soul alive. Incredible stuff, and now they know what they got to do, Matt. You said it. Finish the map, force map 7.
And I think the two bigger differences, I think, are biggest differences, I think you would say, early on in the series was Ans's ability to win the Widowmaker battle, and then also Super on the Roadhog was just dominant against Gesture early on in the series. Both of those things have come back to about an even game. Gesture has started to play much better as the series has gone on. Same with Fitz.
Again, it's creative. He's the player I'm looking at. These biotic grenades are disrupting the Shock so much. Just when they think they're safe, just when they think they can heal up, that's when they're wrong. And actually, the Shock give up so much of this choke here, though, so they allow the Dynasty to take the high ground. And, like, on the face of it, it looks like the Shock just put themselves in a weaker position here.
They were trying to potentially play a little bit closer, maybe challenge that high ground. But Violet got hit with a shot, and they needed to kind of back up, make sure he was okay before kind of coming back out.
Striker playing cagey. They get Gesture early. May still be a resurrect there. And Striker goes down, so it's a trade. Now, you see Super push up here, try and take space and make that resurrect possible. San Francisco get to take a breather here now as the Dynasty are a little deep. May get staggered if they're spotted here. Creative is deep in enemy territory.
But they're not being aggressive, the San Francisco Shock. They almost want the Seoul Dynasty to kind of push on in and separate. They feel like they have a better opportunity to just kind of pick players off one by one, especially playing the Zen. Now you'll see Seoul Dynasty as an entire team wrap around this left-hand side. They know this is where Violet plays.
This is a level of cautiousness from the Shock that we just don't see very often. It's respect for the Dynasty.
No res.
I mean, respect's not going to save you from an arrow trained at your head like that. Transcendence from Violet. He doesn't want to deal with those arrows coming at him, and Prophet now goes on the hunt. Gesture goes down. Toby can't resurrect right now. That hurts the Dynasty in a big way, but still, Fitz is able to find a big pick on Violet now. Choihyobin has no idea where to be looking. Super gets rid of Creative, though, and in a long fight, the Dynasty might struggle. Prophet has to go for a hero play. Can't find the shot.
And you have a Gravitic Flux here coming in from Marvel on the other side. Valkyrie pumped here from Toby. So the Gravitic Flux doesn't result in anything, and then you have Prophet dying. On the backside, Gesture with a change over to Wrecking Ball. Seoul Dynasty, this has been really odd offense so far. I think it's almost because the Shock are playing so passive as well. As Seoul's just trying to find an opening, they haven't been able to do so at all.
90 seconds left in the round. That's all that stands between Seoul and a loss in this series. And a championship rendered over to the Shock. They've got to find something special now. Creative is getting close to a nano boost. There is a Dragon Strike afoot.
Insight here for the Shock, though. You're not going to push into this if you're Seoul Dynasty. You have to wait this out. This will allow the Dragon Strike to get built up. Striker has a really good idea, obviously, after the walls and with the Sonic Arrow, where they're playing from.
60 seconds left.
And they've gotten really, what, 2 fights at that?
Gesture, though, look at him. He wants it so bad. Nano boost, he ignores the Dragon Strike, walks on around it. He's coming for the crown. Zap back on the point. Moth goes for a Valkyrie here. And Marvel's forced to turn his back on something. Arts is flanking around on the Widowmaker. This is a big risk. Will it pay off? Looks like the Gravitic Flux didn't find anything in the flank from Arts. It gets a kill. Let's trade it out, though. Super's put to sleep on the point now, and it has to be a Transcendence from Violet. Choihyobin steps up. 30 seconds left in the round, but Fitz finds Striker crucially, and now he's the one flanking. Gesture falls to the whole hog, and Moth's lucky to get away with his life there. Gravitic Flux makes the shots easy for Fitz, but he's only got 20 health left. Toby's down. Violet, what a huge shot across the map. But Creative chimes back in, and the Dynasty can move to the point. This is where they bring it back. They're creasing on towards Super. The Shock had to step away. The Dynasty, they keep it alive. They stay in the series.
The Shock are what? A kill away pretty much in that fight from winning the Overwatch League, and Seoul Dynasty battles back when it matters the most. This is going to be the hardest part of the game right here. If they can break this top setup straight away, Seoul Dynasty has a chance. 2 fights go the Shock's way up here. They're going to be way down in terms of the clock.
One foul step from the Shock, though, and the Dynasty will be over them like moss on a rock, and they will be pushing that payload. They'll be taking the high ground. Still a minute and 56 left. The Dynasty have time to work with, and there it is. That's the pick on Striker. Resurrect gestures, looking for the Mercy, but he can't get to Mock in time. That hook doesn't connect. Fitz looking for an insane peek. Choihyobin catches him with a Hyperspheres on his way down for the grapple.
Yeah, and they're going to use the Nano Boost here onto Gesture. They know they need to open this up. That'll be a hook and a kill on a Choi. Can he get another one though? Striker with one, Ons with another.
Unbelievable.
It's not looking good for Seoul. The snipers of San Francisco coming alive.
The composure from Striker to face down and Nano boosted Roadhog with full health and just take a couple shots, headshots of course, and take him down. At any point there could have been a hook that claimed his life. That is stone cold.
And this is hard to break, Mitch, when you're playing like even the Onacomp. It's almost harder now when they have the Zen up top. Because you're dealing with both the snipers just kind of in odd positions, odd angles to the side. You can't completely ignore them. But then Violet's just raining down the discords in the damage from up above with Sigma.
Striker, this is risky. Super unintentionally stalling the car with his immense bulk. The Dynasty need to find something, but they're low on health. Marble and Gesture. Yes, Toby has to pop the Valkyrie. Fitz goes down, but it may be a safe resurrect. Not with the Dragon Strike coming through. And now the Shocker trying to wrap around the backside. Violet's there, charges up the odds, and Creative's head goes rolling. Transcendence is on the table for Violet. Choihyobin has been removed, but still plenty to work with for the Shock. Super chases Gesture down, and 24 seconds remain. The Seoul Dynasty are on their last legs.
And the Shock have infosight here. They'll know exactly where they're coming from. They're not going to be able to push into it with ease. Whole hog to knock them back. Transcendence as well. Everything aligning for the Shock. Seoul Dynasty needs some magic here.
Fitz. Magic in those hands, you better believe it. Prophet also has a Dragon Strike. It's all on the table now, and it's all for the taking. Prophet ascends to the high ground. Kart is on the move. Gesture, though hit with a Discord Orbit, needs to be careful now. And that's a Gravitic Flux from Marvel. Doesn't find much here and had to be a kinetic grasp on the way back down. Gesture falls, Toby follows. Choihyobin gonna chase in after Marvel, and the whole hog, a victory dance for Super, oinking his way to victory. Whoever said lightning doesn't strike twice has never met the San Francisco Shock, your 2020 Overwatch League champions.